If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, but let's get right to it. So Francis Ford Coppola is another guy that has come out of the woodwork to slam Marvel movies. Before that, it was Martin Scorsese, which is fine. I get it. Um, Everyone's coming out saying that like Marvel films, comic book movies aren't cinema. And what they want cinema is like art house type films. But in the end, look, it's called show business, and it's a business. So the business that makes the most money is going to be what dominates the cinemaplexes, and that's just the way it's going to be. And there's no changing that at this point. If you can make a movie that's an art house film for less than 40 million, and you could blow it up into something that makes 700 million, then go for it. But to keep knocking this, the audiences pay for it. The audiences want it. So I get that all these guys came out around the same time. You had George Lucas popping onto the scene, Francis Ford Coppola popping on the scene, Martin Scorsese popping on the scene. And I get it. Like, I totally get where they're coming from and their angle on this. But the bottom line is, it's like with Martin Scorsese, he just did The Irishman, and The Irishman cost 100 million plus to make. I mean, it almost had a budget of a Marvel movie, maybe like a one of the lower tiered, Ant-Man or something, and it premiered on Netflix, and so it's a different, everything's a different animal right now. And I think that, like, when you get a lot of these old school guys that are coming out against, it's just because, I mean, I hate to say it, but like, their time is coming to an end when it comes to how their thought process is about what cinema is and what cinema is not. And it's just really sad to say that. And, there was a time when, Steven Spielberg was ragging on all the streaming services, and that people need to see movies on the big screen. And then all of a sudden he's taken Apple Plus money to do his streaming service movies and producing his stuff. So it's like, and then of course, Martin Scorsese, the same thing. These movies have to be seen. And then all of a sudden he's taken 120 million plus to do The Irishman. So it's like, it's a different animal these days. And when these guys are, in their 70s, and they just don't see things how they're being done now, they just got, I mean, I hate to say it, and I don't want to be that guy, but you guys got to get over it, man. You got to get over it. You got to move on. And that's how I feel. But I hate seeing these guys come out and complain like cranky old men, because that's what it's coming across as. Like, they're cranky old men. And, they're just jealous that these other movies are, their movies aren't being seen in the same way. But I mean, when it comes to Francis Ford Coppola, what's driving me crazy is, like, he hasn't put out movies in a long time. He's been doing some little independent things. He just mostly likes to hang out in his vineyard and make wine. So, like, if that's your thing, and, where do you stand to gain anything with just throwing out this, and I think it's maybe why, like, Martin Scorsese, going back to him, he was an executive producer on Joker. Right. Yeah. And I think when the Todd Phillips came on board with the script and the whole 9 yards, they were developing it. And then I think he saw that it was like too much like ripping off his movie Taxi Driver or The King of Comedy. And he left the project. And then all of a sudden he's slamming comic book movies. I think in the case of Marty, he was upset that they were coming down. Somebody was remaking, basically, is what I've been saying. Joker's just a remake of Taxi Driver and a remake of The King of Comedy with a clown in there. So, I think that's where this is all coming from. And it probably burns these old school guys that the movies are making way more money, and it's stuff that the people want, but it's not that artsy, dramatic stuff that they don't pay for that in order to get seats in the cinemas. and to get people to spend the money on the popcorn, spend the money on the drinks and the soda, you got to get the kids in there. And kids aren't going to go watch The Irishman in a movie theater, which is why nobody would finance it. And that's the truth. But they'll go see Spider-Man, they'll go see Batman, they'll go see Superman, and that's, you got to give the people, it's show business. It's not show. It's show business. And these studios have to turn a profit. And that's how I feel about that. And I'm tired of seeing these reports of elderly filmmakers complaining about comic book movies. It's, dude, you guys, move on. Got to get over it. What are your thoughts? You guys, are you feeling the same thing about these guys complaining? I don't know. But let's talk about it in the comments section where you can banter back and forth. And if there's any like film school students out there, they're like, oh, you're coming down on Coppola. You're coming down on Marty Scorsese. Banter with me in the comments section, okay? And we'll talk about it on the next one.